Welcome back to Discovery Studios, my custom theme park that I'm building in Planet Coaster 2. And you might already be wondering on your screen, what is that? That is, right in front of you, the next roller coaster in the park that we are going to be building in this episode. Of course, if you don't know, in the last few episodes we have been building the Crash Bandicoot roller coaster that also acts as a flying machine and a river rapids ride. And with that now on the cusp of being finished, with the entire area coming along nicely, with itself a new roller coaster we're building in this episode too, I've started to move on to the next themed land within the PlayStation themed area. And yeah, the coaster we're building looks like a monstrosity, but once I explain it to you, I think it might make sense. So if you do enjoy this video and you do want to see more of Discovery Studios, be sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future episodes, because there's still a few episodes left to go. I thought this series would be finished by episode 20, which is the next episode. So clearly it won't be finished. We're probably going to go to about episode 22, 24, so a few more episodes on top of what was originally planned coming your way. So as you can see though, we are in the Crash Bandicoot area, and of course this area is quite a long one because of that huge indoor and outdoor water, river, raft, flying, sit down, whatever you want to call it, the boulder chasing machine. That ride, because it's such a large building and it takes up such a wide piece of land, that pathway also runs along there. So I thought this side of the path needs something different, and I originally put a flat ride in, but instead going for a Vekoma Junior boomerang coaster, because why not? These things are fun. Especially the ones that do have like the intense elements on them, sort of more going for what the minifigure speedway ones are like, you know, because they go down quite a few hills and then they go up another lift hill at the end and go backwards, and that has a lot of intense moments, which is weird for a Legoland coaster. But there we go, not complaining. And as you can see, that is like the easiest layout possible, because it is just, what, a little return trip? As it's called, Vekoma Vector Return, sorry. But I was thinking of making a family coaster in this area anyway, because of course the dark ride itself, or the, I don't even know what to call it anymore, that main ride itself is more of a family coaster as well, but it's such an experience that it ends up not really feeling like a roller coaster at times. So I wanted to make a proper family coaster in this area, because the next one coming originally was going to be family. My god, it is thrilling. So we'll go into that in just a bit when I reveal to you the theme of that area, and of course what we're going to be building, which you have seen in the thumbnail and the intro, and it is an absolute monstrosity, like I've said already. Just making one turn here, differently profiled. Originally that was just like a little sort of wave turn or overbank. I've changed that to a twisted airtime hill just to give a different sort of vibe to that moment. And then you're going to head into that helix, up a little hill, and then into that lift at the end. I didn't really want to make an actual spike at the end of this, because we have way too many vertical spikes in this park now. I think there's a twisted spike on the Def Coaster in the Defcon 1 area, and also a vertical spike on the Wallace & Gromit sidecar motorbike coaster. Wallace & Gromit's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventure. There is a spike on that. We have 2 vertical spikes in this park. And obviously there are a few more coasters, a lot of them have launches, and the next one we build will also have a launch, but at least this family one right here has a lift hill. And part of the reason for building that as well is because I built a Vekoma Junior coaster in the Wallace & Gromit land, and shortly after I built it they added an update where you could make the actual same model of ride do that return feature where it goes up and boomerangs all the way down and then obviously comes back to the station. You could make it do that after I built that coaster, and a lot of people were saying you need to change the coaster, make it a boomerang. I was like, maybe not, because it's sort of one of the main rides in that area, I guess, ish, whereas at least this is like just sort of a side part to it, because it's just going to be themed to like the jungle, and you're going to see like hopefully Crash Bandicoot and stuff on that. I know there was a few people saying the Crash Bandicoot ride I've built, it's Crash Bandicoot, yet he's not there. There's no model of him or anything like that. That's because on that ride, you are technically him, because you're sort of riding as what you would do in the Crash Bandicoot games when you play as Crash Bandicoot. So that makes sense for that. But obviously, he needs to be somewhere in the area. So I'm tempted to have him on a little like rock pedestal type place in between that helix, because you'll see him going into the area as well. And that'll be really, really nice. Obviously, this area after this coaster Maybe I'll add a flat ride. I don't know if anyone has any suggestions. Leave them in the comments. But I think the Crash Bandicoot land is now complete. Of course, we have the Ratchet and Clank one, which I've now actually given a name for the actual flat ride we built in that area. The main coaster, I'm just going to call it Ratchet and Clank because that literally shows it the best, because it's two sides and it's Ratchet and Clank. Makes sense. Whereas I've actually given a name for the other flat ride, which one of you guys did suggest, so we'll go into that at some point in the future. If you have any name suggestions for this boomerang or the main coaster, I'm gonna give it a different name every single time. The main ride in this area, that crazy Mack rocking boat type thing, whatever you want to call it. If you have any name suggestions for that, then let me know in the comments. I'd love to see them. I will definitely be checking all the name suggestions out. Now we're going to head into real time to have a look at that coaster before I reveal the next themed area and more. So you join me in the PlayStation themed land, and I'm going to just show you a little bit of what I've been working on before we head onto the next area back there. As you can see, we've got very blue benches. I thought, why not put them in with some white topiary, no, parasols. I just called them bushes. Over on our left, we have the Ratchet and Clank themed land with the lovely flat ride as well. And then straight in front over here, we have the start of a brand new roller coaster that we have just built in the Crash Bandicoot themed area. Whoa, what are you doing? Get out of my way! And you can sort of see as you start to walk in and you go over into the area, you've got these nets up at the side, so you can still see the boomerang, but you can't really jump over, which is always a good thing. You've got the crates everywhere once again, and then over here, Crash Bandicoot. There you go. This obviously is a bit different because it's sort of an adventure with Crash Bandicoot. So again, if you have any name suggestions, that'd be greatly appreciated. Because I know, like I mentioned, the Ratchet and Clank coaster, that is the theme of it. Like, it is Ratchet and Clank, whereas this is Crash Bandicoot, but they're going on an adventure somewhere. So I think it needs a different name. And yeah, off camera, I built this entire facade and queue line. You can see again the crates, the canopies. Just a very sort of simple jungly-esque look with the crates around. And then up there is the sort of sci-fi laboratory that sort of crash landed next to this temple. And now you're going to go in there, and then Dr. Neo Cortex is going to transport you up into the laboratory, up in space, through this door, and then into the station to go on the ride. Now, if you do want to see a full finished POV, because I have completed that first and those final scenes that you didn't see originally, then go and check out the video on screen right now. Same with the splashdown area. If you want to see that in the full finished POV, you can. That has now got a crystal and also the splash itself. Very nice. And now we've also got the boomerang behind us, which if we go up into the air, as you can see, it just runs very nicely along here. Just does a couple of twisted airtime hills into that helix where hopefully Crash Bandicoot's going to be, and then into that lift hill at the end. I won't give you a POV of this one, but what's coming next over here, I will give you a tester POV of, because let's reveal the theme of that new coaster and entire area. Yes, that is right. The next themed land within the PlayStation themed area is going to be themed to Little Big Planet. If you don't know what that game is, it's a PlayStation exclusive. I used to play it all the time when I was a kid, and it's pretty much this puzzle platform video game series that they made, I think 3 games of, I might be wrong, and basically the whole game was based around like us, the player, making things and sharing it with people, or just, you know, sharing these levels that you've made so people can experience them. And people did some mad things in the sandbox sort of creative modes of that game. I'm getting confused with Minecraft there. And people did make roller coasters and flat rides and stuff in it. I remember when I was a kid playing it, I had a few friends that would make those sorts of rides in the game, and you could do whatever you want with them. Which is why we've gone up a vertical launch into an inversion 200 feet in the air. Yep, this is going to be, I think this is the tallest coaster in the park. It won't be the fastest, but it's going to be a spectacle, because the Max Striker model that I've gone for, which is what this coaster is, I think I forgot to mention that, sorry. This is a Max Striker, which obviously I love Max Strikers. There's only one in real life, Voltron, and I love that one. There you go. So I wanted to make one in this park, didn't know how to do it, and I thought this was the perfect time to do it. I've actually used a Max Striker model that someone made, Fresh Reptile 8261, link in the description. Massive shout out to you for making this Max Striker model. It looks really, really cool. I did have to do some updates to it there, but it worked out in my favor. I just wanted to make the craziest coaster possible that looks like from a distance it could have been made in something like Little Big Planet, because, well, that game is about creativity and people make the maddest things. I've seen roller coasters be made in that game with like really cool switch tracks and everything. So that's what I'm going for. But the concept of this ride is probably what's most sort of a spectacle on this, and that is that the entire Little Big Planet franchise is considered a 2.5D platform game. Now, if you don't know what I mean 2.5 dimensional. So you know 2D games like, I don't know, Cuphead or something, or even Terraria, that's a 2D game. That sort of is like a side-scrolling effect, and you've only got that two-dimensional feel. You can only run left or right. Then you've obviously got the likes of Crash Bandicoot that are 3D platformers. You can run in various directions, and there's lots of depth. That's what Little Big Planet is, but on a two-dimensional screen. So you can actually run back and forwards on the level you're on, but you're always in the side-scrolling gameplay of Little Big Planet, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So I thought it would be really cool to have this really high up coaster in the form of like a polar coaster, what I'm going for here. And as you can see, it goes along that layout really nicely, and just have it traverse this really cool layout all the way down to the ground very slowly, losing speed. But the coaster itself follows that similar gameplay style to Little Big Planet, where from a distance, or if you were looking at it from the correct side obviously, it would look two-dimensional. So when you walk into that area, it's going to look like this massive box with like a 2D roller coaster in it. It will look really strange, but when you start riding it, you'll realize you are actually in the world, and it is a bit more 3D than you thought. And you can go in depth into some of those scenes, and you will be on this coaster. So yes, the idea of this is a lot of like cardboard and stickers and all that sort of stuff, which is perfect because they added the toy box pack in this game recently. I'm going to be using a lot of that sort of same vibe, you know, to create a sort of toy look. And we're going to have this entire coaster in hopefully a massive cardboard box, and you're going to go through various different levels as you go down and up, just different theming and everything like that. Like there might be a jungle at the bottom just to fit in with what we've done with Crash Bandicoot, and then there might be some like, I don't know, volcano scenes or some iconic stuff from the game, I don't know yet. But yeah, the idea is to have this sort of polar coaster-esque layout, as you can see I'm making, go round and have that similar theme. It's a bit confusing, I feel, if you haven't played Little Big Planet, but once I've built the coaster, I think it might look a bit better. It's not the most realistic coaster I've built in this park by any means, but I'll get there, and with all the supports and everything, they can all be in the walls and like be really hidden. There's going to be a lot of custom supporting to do, but I hope you guys do enjoy that when we do come onto theming it, and I hope you're enjoying this build process right now. Yeah, we've had that vertical launch, and we've done a couple of the inversions at the top, which are quite big and quite drawn out. Then we've got like a couple airtime hills, a wave turn, and then you hit a brake run, which of course we need those brake runs for capacity. And then you're just going to keep going around off the speed of that brake run, so that will actually slow you down quite a bit, and then you will continue around the rest of the layout. Had a few issues here. I wanted to do like this really sharp outer bank there, but it went way too fast, so I had to give that a miss. But a lot of people, when I actually showed them that first little view of the, well, I say little, that first view of the coaster from a distance, thought about the fact that this might have like the most inversions or something. Nope, that was not the idea. There is no records or anything, I don't think. It could have maybe the tallest vertical launch, I don't know. But no records were meaning to be beaten with this coaster. It was purely just to be a Little Big Planet coaster. And I couldn't think of any way better to do a Little Big Planet ride. As we go into another airtime hill there. Just wanted it to be really, really nice and like have loads of airtime and inversions, but still not repetitive, because I feel like at the top I did like 2 dive loops almost, and then just sort of sat there and went, oh, what shall I do next? Another dive loop? I just wanted to make the elements different. I know there will be a lot of airtime hills and a lot of like barrel rolls and corkscrews and stuff, but hopefully there's enough variety there to make it less boring. And my idea at the end of this coaster, you can see how much of a spaghetti mess it is. Look at it. It's so crazy the way it just traverses that entire thing. It is absolutely mental. I don't know what was going through my brain. I saw a lot of comments recently saying, I think you've gone crazy. And I think I have, just looking at this. But it loses speed quite well. And I think once the theming's in, it will look very strange up on the skyline. You'll just see this massive cardboard box. But I feel like I can hide it well enough from the other areas, which we've done with the Defcon land pretty much in every other area. You can't really see it. And that's a very tall structure. I feel like if I can manage that with this, we should be onto a winner as we go into like a twisted airtime hill there, in a way. And yeah, it was just really nice to build another sort of thrilling coaster. I know this isn't like the most thrilling, like it's not nowhere near as thrilling as the likes of the Def Coaster, nowhere near, because that was very thrilling. I'd say this is probably on just a higher level of thrill to the F1 Drift Coaster, maybe. I think that might be the best way of explaining this, because it's not overly thrilling. Like, you don't look at it and go, oh my god, that looks like the most thrilling thing in the world. But you do look at it and think, why is that so tall and why is it in a cardboard box? So hopefully it actually makes it out as a good coaster. Because, well, there's nothing worse than building a coaster like this and then getting to the end of the theming and everything and thinking, maybe I shouldn't have built this, maybe I should have stuck to another idea, which I didn't have any other ideas, because this was the one that was very much prominent in my mind when it came to a Little Big Planet coaster, and I just really wanted to go and build this menacing looking, just, it looks like a kid's just gone on a piece of paper and just scribbled back and forth. That's who designed this coaster. But now we are reaching the end of the ride. I wanted to show you the actual full build process of this coaster layout, just because I know it's going to change a lot and I'm going to make different like sort of alterations of what it does, but I feel like it's good to show you the entire process, because a lot of people think when I build my parks and my coasters, the first thing I build is like, right, perfect, done. No, these things take so long to build. I've had a lot of people asking for like tutorials and stuff. I'm looking into that for the future. But a lot of Planet Coaster gameplay stuff is purely just practice. Like, I don't really know how this came out so well for a first try, but I'd sort of envisioned in my head, I'd done the scribbles on a piece of paper and actually looked into what I could do for this layout, and sort of went from there. I planned beforehand in a way. Like I do with most coasters in this park. And the next park is going to be even bigger and better. So stay tuned for that. Well, I don't know if it'll be... Well, I shouldn't say it's not going to be better. Of course it's going to be better. I'm learning as I go along. But I really enjoyed building all these IPs. I know it might not be everyone's cup of tea, you know, like they might not have heard of Defcon, or they might not be a fan of the Formula 1 and stuff. I don't really mind, because this is more of a passion project. All my parks are. I absolutely loved building this entire park, and I'm going to be really sad when it finishes up. But of course there will be a final tour and fireworks show. Might even do a live stream or two to cover it. And yeah, just moving over those last parts. This is probably going to be the second to last thrill coaster in the park, because the final area is going to have another big coaster. I don't know if it's going to be as thrilling as this one or the Def Coaster, but it will definitely be somewhere maybe in between or just below, similar level to the Drift Coaster. I've loved building the family coasters, but there's just something about building these thrill coasters that I absolutely love. So I want to get back into doing more of them. So this section, I was tempted to actually break the fourth wall of the game and actually come out into a sort of plaza area where you might stand, or like a seating area, whatever, and come out of the box and like smash out of it and then end up going 3D like that. And I did actually build that entire section, but the only problem was I think the block sections were way too, it was just way too drawn out, and it didn't really work for the capacity of the ride. So I actually end up going back on this. But again, I love to show you the full process of me building these things, so you can see the sort of process I go through, because this bit was not perfect, and the whole ride is definitely not perfect in itself. So we'll have a lot to work on. Well, the whole ride looks ridiculous, so definitely a lot to work on. So I remove some of the station and then make an exit platform, much easier for operations as well. And then we turn around for that ending. But again, this is all going to disappear in a minute. But yeah, why is there just an orb of like, what is that? Did you see that orb? What was that? I think a train blew up and I paused it so it just stayed there. I didn't even notice that when I was building it. That's so weird. But another reason for changing that ending as well was after I did test it, I realized just how slow it goes through those final elements. So it just felt way too like different from the rest of the ride that's quite fast paced, and there's like slow bits at the right times where you've got like the hang time and everything. That just wasn't there for the ending of this ride. So you can see me testing it here, waiting for that one to reach the bottom. It's really satisfying watching it, actually, I can't lie. Just seeing it sort of make its way down slowly and then pop back up again as we go into that final brake run. There you go. And then yeah, it wasn't even that brake that was slow, it was genuinely the fact it went into the brake run so slowly. And then from that point, it just went through the last few elements quite slowly as well. So I decided to change that. As you can see, testing it. There you go, look. Well, you can't really tell from this POV really because it's sped up, but it just went really slow around those first, like, I don't know, after that break on those first couple corners, and then the final inversion, it just went way too slow. So I thought about lowering some of it down. You'll see here. Or deleting that, yeah, and then I lower that down, there we go. That's the right way around. And yeah, you just go into an airtime hill, a double down even, and then do like a quick turn like that, and then into the brake run. Yeah, I think that was a way better ending, especially because that doesn't also break the theme that we're going for. I feel like if you walked into that area and then you just saw the whole coaster coming towards you, you'd be like, well, this isn't Little Big Planet because it's 3D. But at least that'll be behind the scenes. And yeah, oh, we've cut to black. I guess we have to go into real time. So here we are then. As you can see in front of us, what a mess this coaster is. I've gone for this really nice gradient of color going from the top to the bottom. Of course, like I mentioned briefly, the jungle sort of theme, we might continue on just to sort of blend them really nicely at the bottom, hence the green. And then as you make your way, well, you'll be making your way down from the top. But as you make your way from the top down, you'll have like different sort of themed areas, like maybe the yellow one will be like a desert, and the orange and red might be like a volcano, I don't know, but stuff that you would see in Little Big Planet, the very creative things that people made in that game, we can go on to make all of it. And yeah, literally this layout, you've seen me making it, but I am really happy with how it's turned out. It does look like a mess when you look at it from like up here, but the whole idea is to look at it from somewhere like this, and you're going to have a cardboard box around it, and you're going to be able to see this coaster running inside with loads of lighting and everything. And from this angle, it looks like a completely 2D roller coaster. It looks like it literally just runs left and right, and you go up these sort of inversions and stuff, and they just stay in the exact same place, and they cross over, all that sort of stuff, when actually that's not the case when you actually ride it. And you can see it from this angle where it is quite flat, but it is 3D, and you do actually get quite a bit of depth when you're going around the layouts. Yeah, love that. Look at that. I don't know what I was thinking still, but I think it'd be rude not to jump on for a ride. Let's go in front bumper view, and then we're going to unpause the game. It might be a bit laggy, I can't lie. I have just tried to fix the lag by deleting half of the park, so hopefully I don't save it. And here we go. I'm going to fix the smoothing for next time, of course. But hopefully this POV will be smooth now that I've deleted half the park, and it shouldn't be as laggy as we head up the vertical launch. Not too fast, but just enough. So we get loads of hang time on the top. I love the hang time on Voltron, so I thought I had to do that. A dive loop into there. You could see the sort of lag spikes there, but you can also see how it's transitioning from level to level. As you can see down here, we go from red to orange. A nice stall there inspired by Helios. As we go around into our first mid-course brake run. And then we dive down into the next level. Yeah, I just love the way it goes from level to level. Like, I'm really enjoying the sort of like, you know, the ability to be able to theme. Oh my god, I need to just move that out. That was like a cutback. Oh my god, that's going so fast. I love the fact that I'm able to make all of these different scenes and theme them up individually. Damn, this is going a lot faster than I remember. Maybe the lag's kicked out, so it's actually like going normal speed now. And I've got like a stall there, and then like an outer bank again, into a turn, into the next level, one step down, another inversion, And this is actually the final level here. So we do a double down, then like a really quick overbank into more airtime hills. And then we got one final turn into the brake run. There you go. A tiny bit fast in places, but most of it was pretty decent speed. And yeah, as weird as this coaster looks, I hope you guys now understand why I've made such an abomination. And I hope you guys do enjoy the next episode when it comes to theming it. So yeah, if you have any name suggestions for this as well, let me know. If you've ever seen Little Big Planet, I forgot to mention, down here there'll be like a little pre-show with Sackboy and stuff, and there'll be like a voice overlay and all that sort of thing. And then you'll head up at launch. Yeah, that's the sort of plan. So if it's like a Little Big Planet, something Sackboy related, that'd be cool. And yes, get those name suggestions in the comments. And once again, I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, and see you next time.